Hey shipmates, welcome to part 2 of my welcome aboard walk around. Dr. Dystopia. If you want to hear all the disclaimers and stuff, go back and watch part 1, which we had done the basics in the ship's control around the external of the sub. We did that on the surface as I started a quick mission. For this one, we're going to be covering navigation, radar, photonics, and radio ESM. For that one, we're going to start in a campaign. Spoiler alert, you're going to see all the missions for Dust on here because we're going to jump into mission 1. Very good starter mission. Relax, pressure. Be starting submerged this time. Load up here. Here we are. Now I would suggest when you first load into a mission, wait until you hear the sound kick in. Even then, give it 5 or 10 seconds. Stabilize out. First thing I'm going to do here, hopefully it's in sync this time. I was having problems with it on the last one. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and jump in over here at the pilot station real quick. I'm going to go ahead and give him a 60-foot depth order. Already going 1/3. I'm going to alter the heading around a little bit to be more northerly. Sorry for the cough, been a little sick. Around to 030 instead of 50. Make sure we have lots of time before we get to the coast. And then, time to talk here. We covered the command station, the pilot station last time. Today we're going to be covering ECDIS, navigation, radar station right over here, photonics, radio, and ESM. Another thing I'm going to do real quick first is we'll go to one of the main circuits here. Go ahead, I'm going to alter the lights to preset 1. A little less than it normally starts with, so you get less glare. Such as right here on the nav table. So here you can see our situation. If you notice, it's got most of our mission orders, what you get from the mission start. It already told here, and then like most missions, it's going to tell you to come up to periscope depth for additional mission tasking. That's why I'm heading up to 60 feet. Mentioned we need that for the photonics. Here on the ECDIS, let's cover some things. Up the top left, you see you've got your heading. The right of that is STW, is speed through the water. That's your speed as measured by these little probes that stick out from the ship. And they're actually measuring the flow of water past them. So they're affected by currents and things. Below that you have COG, which is course over ground, and SOG, which is speed over ground. Those measurements are unaffected by current. That's inertial navigation system, and it's measuring your inertia over time in different directions and giving you where you're really moving. As we get out from there, you see to the right further, there's a couple buttons there at the top. The leftmost one is going to center ship. See if I move off here. I go click that button. Boom. Right back on the center. And the other one is going to give you an ability to measure distances between points, like so. Handy. Alright, and below that is a messages queue. I don't think I've ever seen that light up. I'm not sure if it even actually does anything. The next one down is threat vector. Thrust vector. What that does is show you down here, you see the little line coming out from on ship. That's measuring how far you will go in 10 minutes. Change the amount here to say, well, how far will I go in an hour? Also very handy. To the right of that, you see the system for putting in waypoints. Routes. Starts on the route. We can shift over to waypoint here. Back to route. Once you load those guys, you go in and you say, I'm gonna make a new one, put down some dots, and you can see I already laid a waypoint there. Just by clicking on it, it puts one in. Or with that, I can say back over to waypoint and say delete. Gone. Come on, go back up. On that front, once you put in a route, have a route saved, you would actually, your ship won't follow it right away. You have to come out here and right click on the exit station and tell the autopilot what route. There would be routes here. You click on the plus and it would start following whatever route you want. Let's see, and it's going to tell you whether there's any alarms going off. Sound the collision alarm or something. And the current date time in Zulu time. Let's see if this one's actually in Zulu time or not. Yeah, it's 9:25. One of the places that you can see if you have contacts when you're up here, these will always be in local time. No matter what it tells you there, it'll go to you in local time. That to compare the other times. Sometimes there's errors. We find them every now and then. We're getting the wrong one. Final things on the ECDIS station. As you zoom in and out, you see to the bottom left, you have a scale. Give you an idea how far the distances are. And one thing a lot of people notice, notice as I move the cursor around, it's telling me what the position of the cursor is. Degrees, minutes, and decimal. If I click down here to position, see it's actually telling you the position of the ship. Cursor's down here, but the ship over it. Here we go. The other two pieces of information there is depth below keel and bottom sounding. You have nothing in bottom sounding right now because the fathometer is off. Depth below keel is a chart measurement. Do not trust this because the chart block is rather large and it's going to be showing you, I think it's the shallowest of those, but irrelevant, it's going to be showing you one depth representative of a large area. So it's only going to be accurate in a small percentage of it. Most of it's going to be somewhere around that. What you want to do, make sure you're in shallow water at all. Come over to the sonar and grab the fathometer there. That guy going. And then when you're on the nav table, and you ever want to know, am I getting ready to run into the bottom? You can look right over there from this position. Boom. And look at what the difference is there. What this is telling you is, yeah, it's 772 feet where I am right now, but somewhere near me it's 141 feet. The chart's showing that somewhere. So there's some shallow areas of where you're at, even though right now below you may not be. Don't get comfortable unless this depth below keel gets large as well. The other one gives you more information about the cursor. Basically, this is really good for if you have a contact or a place you want to go. You want to say, you know, what course and speed do I need? Okay, it's 7.9 miles at 37 degrees. So if I came to course at 37, I would be heading right towards it. My cursor is. I'm sorry, not 37, 67. True, the 37 is relative. The fourth row there. The next two shows you the depth of where you got that cursor at. Also can be handy. And time until you get there on your current course and speed. Or at least current speed. How long it would take you if you steered the proper course to get to that location. Alright. That's pretty much the nav screen. There's not a lot to it. Although it's very handy because you're going to be evaluating your contacts there, and that's what at the most. Not a lot to actually do on it. Strange how my cough suddenly got worse as I started actually talking. Alright, on to the next thing. We should be at periscope depth now. Let's go over here. Go back to Photonics. Photonics screen. Top left. These first two buttons are going to be which Photonics you are on. This is number 1. This is number 2. If you click them both at the same time, you get a split screen. And the next button to the right of those brings up the actual controls. And you see at the top here of the controls, it's got one to shift between the two masts. Make sure you're on the one that you have selected here. If I'm, let's say I'm on this one, that's Photonics mast 2, and I'm sitting here looking, now watch what happens. So I say, okay, let's put that guy up. And it's happening. It's broke. It's broke. No, it's not. Not broke. You're broke. Over here, mast raised. Now we see. Going up. Now when you don't move this slider all the way to the right, if you watch the last video, you'll see that these masts don't go up that high. Right now it's barely above the sail. But when I drag this slider, I can increase the height all the way to the max height. Notice above that slider, it'll give you the date time again. It'll also say how much of the mast is extended, and based on your keel depth, how much of it is sticking above the water or exposed. Right now we have 5 feet of scope, or should, of Photonics mast above the water. Now if we go down below that, you see your contacts management, where you'll mark a contact and identify it, put in your information. Again, for both the upper and the lower. Alright? And the reason it says split is because if I do this, let's go ahead and go over the other one, put it up too. We can totally do this. You can use them both, even on the same screen. Even though I prefer to have them on different screens, but to each their own. You can control them separately, ways at once. But I digress. So that's your contact management portion of the screen. Now, if you were to add a contact, you would simply put in your range, or if you can use a laser rangefinder, it'll, inside of 20,000 yards, it'll probably give you a return that'll give you an accurate one. The alternative is, let's put one in 10,000 yards. An angle on the bow. Now, angle on the bow is the relative bearing to you from the contact. A little bit of a complex subject, but basically there's 2 ways you can do angle on the bow. So one way is to say port or starboard, and a amount of degrees up to 180. So starboard up to 180, 180 is behind you, 0 is in front of you. Starboard 90 is directly to the right of you. Port 0 is in front of you. Port 90 is directly off the left. And port 180 is to the south. When you do a 360, as this does, you see that it doesn't have a port and starboard button, then it works just like a relative bearing. So if you were looking at a contact and imagine you were standing on the bridge of that contact and you wanted to look back at yourself, what relative bearing would that be? So we'll go ahead and put one in, an easy one. It's heading straight away from us, let's say. So that would make it a 180. Easy. And speed, let's go ahead and drop in a 10 here. We'll say this is a neutral contact. Or rather friendly. Neutral is blue. Red is hostile. Yellow is unknown. And as far as the classifications, all these with the stuff pointing up, that's all surface stuff, right? I don't know why all the green ones look the same here. They shouldn't be. But the stuff that is boxed off is all. Let's see. This is air. Middle is surface. To the right is all submerged. You see, they're all pointing down. So we're going to say this is a surface contact. There we go. And we'll mark it. That's going to, you see there's a Victor 1 pops up. That's where we're telling them that contact is. Alright, let's go back to the top again and go across the rest of the buttons. On the from the top left after the control button, you have visual source. Click some here. You're into black and white. Color. Black and white. Color. Here's the bottom one. Black and white. Color. And next to that is visual or thermal. Of course, we're on visual now. If you go to thermal, notice the visual source doesn't care anymore, right? Back to visual again. And the buttons after that allow you to zoom in and zoom out. Power. Application power. Goes up to 12x. The next one over is the overlay color. Have them be different so you don't get confused. And the buttons after that are for stabilization. And it's not rocking around too much here, but what you'll see is if you put, let's see if it's gonna, you can see it sort of change. See how it's at an angle there? How everything's kind of sloping down to the right? Watch. Now it's all level. It's just taking any jilting back and forth and rocking around out of the picture. We're attempting to using stabilization. The next one's over is when you're going to capture stuff. You can take a photo. Got one. Oh, there's my photo. I just took on cam 1. You can set the settings for those. That's whether it's black and white. Go ahead and do another photo. Now we got a black and white one. Mode. See, now we can look at the photos. Oh, that one didn't come out black and white, did it? Huh. Have to play with that and see if there's some issues there. That's how it's supposed to do anyway. Not sure the sweep mode works either at this point. We'll move off that. Don't do a lot of photos anyway. The next one is kind of important. Signal. If you have a contact that has a radar on, you'll hear a zoom, zoom. I probably should have loaded a mission where they had one. I thought this one might. But you'll hear it and you'll see some stuff here. So if you hear noises when you load up, it's either going to be active sonar, which we'll cover in the sonar, or it's going to be this, which is a radar intercept on the early warning. You'll see the information for it. And this little speaker here with the red X is how you can mute it. That would mute it if it was currently making noise. And the last few things on the Photonics is laser rangefinder. I don't know if we're close enough for our contact yet. Go over to ESM and see if we can find him. And when we find him, we'll use the laser rangefinders, which for here is for scope 1 and scope 2. But basically this kicks it on where they're ready to work, and this button fires it. Not real complex. We'll come back and play with it once we go ahead and look for our contact. Let's jump over to radio because they told us we need to call home and get our complete mission orders. We'll come over here. First thing we want to do is go over to the antennas and say, yeah, let's get one of these babies up. Go ahead and give me SATCOM 1. And just like the Photonics, you got a variable height here. So assuming you're not real shallow, go ahead and make that baby up. And watch these buttons. See, we're getting a receiving there. So we go over to messages and we hit send receive. Boom. There's our tasking. They want us to go after Salma H. No problem. Sounds good. Before we move on, let's go ahead and lower that antenna back. We don't want that sticking out there. But just out of curiosity, since we know it's a merchant ship, perhaps it's obeying laws properly and transmitting its position. Let's run over here to ESM. Oh, before I do that, let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Right? There's really not a lot else to it. Just be shallow enough, 60 feet, 58 feet, something shallower. Get your antenna up, put it up. Watch along the left side for the indication, and go over to messages, hit send receive. Oh, and if you want to print it to your overall status display down here, your messaging, you just hit print here. Now you see it. What's in there is copied out here, so you can you don't have to come back here to see it again. The only other thing is the information tab out here, and that just tells you the codes for ELF, which isn't working right now, I don't believe anyway, so we won't even worry about that. Alright, back to ESM. Ooh, bumping into the walls. ESM. Your radar information can be intercepted by the Photonics mask. It has the early warning receiver. You can identify the contact. Newer systems that aren't represented in the game have integrated direction finding into that as well and done away with the ESM mask. However, as it represented in the game, in order to get a direction to a radar contact or a comms contact, you need the radar mask. Right here we have the control for that. Go ahead and raise that guy up. Send it all the way up. See if we're going to be able to pick up anything. Oh, and we can hear right off. Yeah, we're intercepting stuff. Sounds like they still might have some problems with early warning mask properly detecting times. Let's see what it is. The first tab up here, if you look at the top left, it says threats. That's the screen we're on. And down the row, it will give me information on a threat if there is one. We're not showing any. So if we click the next one, communications. We see that's where we're getting this contact from. That's why it wasn't on early warning receiver. It doesn't do radio frequency intercepts. It only does radar. So this is a 0.03, so this is only a 3 megahertz 0 PR, so this is a constant thing, and this is probably, I think we have a lot of times it'll intercept our own satellite signals, which I think is probably what's happening here. This is something that shouldn't be tracked. It's always going to show it behind you. Yeah. So we'll ignore that guy. But again, same thing here. You can see the information it gives you on a contact, and if we had an actual something transmitting communications traffic out there, we get similar information. It would actually tell us something. The third one is really good against merchants, because as you can see already, there's the Selma H. We see her because she is transmitting AIS information, as all merchants are currently required to do. So it's sending us the coordinates, what country it's from, all that info. Makes this an easy job. We turn on DF here. Show us this one. I guess I think it doesn't show DF because you're not really DFing the AIS, just using their position and assuming it's right. It's not. It's the data that's sent with AIS tells you where it is. It's not the characteristic of AIS to to direction find and identify people. It trusts them to be honest, more or less. Tries to make them be honest. So we see that he's going 8.8 knots, 351. He's a bearing of 065. So let's jump back over to our Photonics mast. See if we can see him over there at 06. I'm going to go ahead and, what am I on here? I'm going to lower this guy. I can get rid of that. See a little better. We're one. Whoop. There, we're not far off it. Let's zoom in a little. Yeah, I'm seeing something, a little something in there. You see those lights flickering around? Let's go in one more. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then we would have actually seen it even better with mono. Hear that? Good. Obvious in mono. I usually do a lot of my searching for anything distant in mono. Almost even in daylight, it's going to typically work better. You're not picking up all the fog and misty stuff. Separating that out a lot better. So there's our guy. That's the Selma H, right where it told us he was. And we already know that he was going 8.8. Take the point, did it? Oh, it doesn't want point, so we'll just call it 9 knots. We'll have to round it off. It said it was 351 and it's 065. That's going to put his angle on the bow. Think about call it 225 and see how it comes out. We'll adjust it in the TMA screen. Doesn't matter anyway. And let's see if we can range find this. There you go. 19,251 yards. This guy's out. That's right. You need to have it cleared before you do the laser range find, and then it puts it in for you. Now I can go 225. 9 knots. Guys, hostile. Mark. Go look back at our station, and you can see there we have him. But I had that angle on the bow was not good at all. I can see I want to flip him around another 30 degrees or so. But to do that, rather than do it here, we would do that in fire control, which is beyond the scope of what we were going to do in this walkthrough. But you've seen pretty much how to use Photonics, what all the buttons are. And radio, ESM, playing left is to get the radar. If we're going to do the radar, also note, you can do all the things I was doing with Photonics here. You can even look at them at the same time. Notice, I can look back there. That guy's still on him too. Even though only one of you can move around at a time, or when there's multiplayer, I'm sure 2 people trying to move it at the same time will not work. But let's get up for the radar. So what we're going to do here is we don't care about this guy. We'll go ahead and go through a quick surface here. First thing, let's go over to our rigging. And once we get up there, we're going to rig for surface. But what we want to do here, whoop, back too far. First is go in there and give them a depth. Just put 0. It's going to go up as shallow as it can. I like to surface at 2/3 to give yourself enough speed to help you up there. And then go to your mast and go ahead and raise your snorkel mast. But if you're not going to emergency blow, you don't want that mast up out of the water. So see how they boom. See our LP blower buttons went from gray to allowing us to start them, and we'll begin starting. This is going to get us up to the surface so that we can raise our radar mast. But we'll do is we'll make sure we're high enough here. Oh, that button, this. There we go. Alright, okay. Zoom back out. Facing forward, fully zoomed out. Let's pull the slider down so we can get down low here. Almost up there. Snorkel right there as well above. What I'm looking for is to see the bow come up enough that I know, yeah, there you go. So you're starting to see the bow there right at the bottom. Coming up through the water. What that's telling me is that we are now getting shallow enough I know my sail is out of the water and it's going to stay out of the water. So I can raise the radar antenna. He goes. So we can get on the radar. It does not have a higher and lower, of course, because it only goes up a little bit. Very tall at all. And notice it's in standby now because mast is up. If it wasn't up, here's your other control port. You don't have to do it up front. Put it back up. Standby. So now all you have to do is power it up. Up the top left, it shows you the heading, your speed through the water, over ground, all the readings you'd have on the nav map. Second to get cranked up here. Let's crank the range up a lot. See if we can. There we go. I wanted to drive home the point that this is a navigation radar system. Look how it's painting the coastline there and stuff. Your contact is just going to be that little green dot. But submarines don't really use them for I mean, you use them to navigate contacts when you're on the surface. You just aren't that much. But their primary purpose is to help guide you in and out of ports and to navigate your way around land. Not to prosecute contact. Here's our contact. Once I click on it, you see over here we got target, range, bearing. It has a solution that would put one in there. The no, it's going to track right there on target, so that's not going to do anything. That would be able to select back and forth. On the right side, you got whether you want heads up or north up. You can rotate your display, or course up. And you can have it'll have trails that it'll show behind. You know, we haven't been doing it long enough for them to fill in yet, but you will get trails from your contacts if you highlight these. Either off or make them short or long, or make them last forever. And then you have vectors, relative vectors, which is handy if you're avoiding running into somebody. Let you know what your relative speed is. You turn those on or off. You see green lines show up there, although it looks like it's a little off. And they've got a chart fill button, but I don't think it actually fills in the chart at this point. But it should do. And that's pretty much it. You can see right here, anytime you want to know the range and bearing of the target, you have it right there. Radar is pretty boring. Not super useful, because as soon as you turn it on, everybody knows you're here. I don't usually waste a lot of time on it. Shut that down, lower that mast. And we're still hearing that buzzing because I should have shown you this too on the ESM. I've done it. I just get used to listening because I'm an ESM guy, so it doesn't bother me. But now that you're detecting it with the ESM mast, for some reason, early warning receiver decides to indicate it as well. Back what I was talking about before, the early warning receiver really wouldn't even normally detect a VHF. Not what it's there for. We'll just mute it out. And I think that's about it. Finish up part 2. In part 3, we'll go over fire control and weapon systems. This guy over here. And then in part 4, we're going to do sonar, the port side over here. Talk to you then.